Another surprise to Tony Longhurst. He's there, that Wayne Jones engine producing plenty of horsepower. Then it's Peter Brock sitting back in third, led most of the session, dropped in the later stages. Mark Scape, a much improved performance from his Holden, sits there on the second row. Craig Lowndes, the man everybody's been talking about, perhaps too much, but he sits beside Larry Perkins, who has always done so well at these meetings. Wayne Gardner and Johnny Bower sit side by side. Johnny Bower back a little bit, could be a reason of tyres. We'll talk about that in a moment or two. Down they come, Dick Johnson and Russell Ingall, side by side. And as you go through the grid, I'll talk to Jeff Brabham and we'll talk about the tyre situation, because at the moment some of the teams have been struggling here.
Oh, absolutely. I think the big problem the 5-litre cars had this weekend was that they were the first cars out in practice when the track first opened, and the track was very slippery and they got very little data for them to go into the next day, which was their qualifying session. So there's a lot of teams out there very nervous about what tyre combination they've got. Lovely to have Jeff Brabham working with us, and also working with us this weekend, and we're thrilled about that too, Jimmy Richards. Now, Jimmy, is it affecting the Bridgestone runners more so than the Dunlop runners?
No, I don't think so, Daz. I think that the Bridgestone and the Dunlop runners are having some troubles, but I'm sure they will have had them organised for this first race. This is the longest race, so they'll probably be running the harder compound out of the two that they chose.
All right, you've both been round in the 2-litre cars. I mean, your impressions?
Fantastic. I really think it's one of the best tracks I've driven on anywhere.
Jeff?
Absolutely, I agree with Jim. It's just, I think all Australians should be proud of this circuit. It's world class. There we go, 10 laps, race distance, 53 kilometres. These things are going to be a hoot round here. I'm telling you, they're going to be so fast. The sweeping part of the circuit, a real challenge in a car like this.
Oh, it certainly is. They'd be absolutely flat out around the sweeping corners in the track, but they've got to be very, very careful they don't lay too much weight on the outside tyres, because they're finding that if the tyres are a bit green, those big fast corners take their toll.
Brakes round here?
Brakes are a problem. Another area the teams are very worried about is brakes. Talking to some of the guys earlier, they consider this track the hardest on brakes that they race at all year.
Glenn Seaton sits on pole. Tony Longhurst, the two Falcons are there, all set now, waiting to go around about 5 seconds. Don't they look good? Have a listen to them as the V8 start to go now. Up go the revs, away they go. Seaton off the line really well, gets the power down. Peter Brock with a good start. Peter Brock could come up into second place. Lowndes got a good start there too. Slotted in behind Brock. Wayne Gardner's moved up well. Side by side. Will they get through here without a bit of biff and barge and Haji barge? Yes, they do. And what a start from Seaton.
No, top effort. He had to get that good run to the outside for the first corners. That was really good.
Absolutely, and you can see Mark Scafe moving up there. He is one of the most confident guys before the start of the race. I'd keep an eye on him, but we've had a bit of a biff there. Looks like Wayne Gardner, he's spun off, and he's definitely going to have a problem from now on.
Wayne Gardner with a big 360 right in front of the field. I thought it may have happened on the first corner. That's where he got tagged. A few got involved there. Dickie Johnson balked pretty badly too, but got around. We'll probably have a look at that a little later on, but here we go now back through the pack, and we look one of the pack leader cars as they make their way past the marina area here through this very, very fast part of the circuit. Glenn Seaton challenged by Peter Brock. Mark Scape is up into third place now, and this is good stuff, but Seaton looks a little comfortable at the moment.
No, he certainly does. It's a bit of I suppose, a pity that Wayne had that nerf and spun, because it's opened the field out, so the racing probably isn't going to be as close as we hoped it would be.
Longhurst struggling now. He's dropped back a little.
Well, I'd be interested to see what happens there. I was talking to the Yokohama people, and they were fairly confident that the tyres they had on that car were going to last, but I'm afraid none of his competitors really felt that.
Let's go back to the replay. Here we go.
Right, well, Wayne has actually got a tap from behind by Dick, unfortunately, but when you're all going down into a tight corner like that, you know, like paint swapping does take place. It's just unfortunate it happened where it did.
I tell you, your young bloke just stuck through there too.
He was slowed down a fair bit, but he actually made it pass, so that's one good thing.
When you saw, look at that shot there, Wayne Gardner has been tapped quite a few times since he's come into Group A racing.
Well, absolutely. You know, when I came back to Australia a year ago, all you heard was Captain Chaos and how Wayne got into trouble with this guy or that guy. But since I've been here, it looks like he's been the poor guy who's been on the receiving end all the time.
I'd have to agree with that. And, of course, we'll talk about Wayne Gardner too, because he's now doing almost what they used to call a Brock car. He's now doing a Wayne Gardner high-performance Holden, apparently getting worked off his feet, preparing those. He's off to Japan to drive. for Toyota over there, and he's hoping to do Le Mans as well. So a very busy year for Wayne Gardner.
Oh, I think so. Over the last year, Wayne has actually matured into a really good touring car driver, and it was only a matter of time. With the balance and finesse that a World 500 champion has, he's going to be good in the car.
Your old teammate now, Mark Scape, stayed to climb all over the back of Peter Brock.
I think Mark's a dark horse in the race. He told me that he was actually off on the grass on his fastest lap, forced off by Tony inadvertently. So I reckon he'll be the pace setter.
Scapey now all over the back of Brock. So we've got a Falcon, Holden.
Exactly. I think Mark Scape's definitely going to be the dark horse here. He was very confident after practice, and he didn't feel like he had the best lap because he had a problem, and I think it's showing up now in the race. But I think everybody's probably just holding station and just seeing how their brakes are going to go and let the race settle down, and as things progress, start to make a charge.
Scape now, you can see right in behind Peter Brock. I tell you what, that thing's got some grunt at Glenn Seaton's, because once he got on the fast bit there, he just put the foot down and really pulled out another couple of lengths. But now Scape all over the back of Brock. Brock has a big look up. You can see the head going back. He knows exactly where he is. Scape takes a slightly different line now. Tries to get up on the inside, gives him a better run out of the corner as he tries to tuck up the other way. But there are plenty of places here you can pass, and that's a bit unusual these days.
No, it's a great track for passing, but I think Brocky at the moment is actually holding Mark up a bit. He's driving defensively, and that will allow Glenn to get away.
Actually, looking back there, both Longhurst and Perkins are hanging right in there, and that particularly Perkins wasn't that confident he was going to be able to do that before the race. So they're definitely going, I think, better than what other people imagined that they would be.
Are you surprised that Tony Longhurst's car has it started to go very well toward the end of last season and really has picked up from there? They've really got it sorted out now.
They certainly have, but I think Tony got the benefit from the Yokohama 67 tyre, which is the softest one they would use around here. And I think some of the teams were probably thinking, well, mate, OK, he'll qualify well, but it may fall off during the race.
Here we go. Mark Scape now has another look with Brock. And Larry Perkins comes up beside Longhurst. He has a little look there. Now we see one of Dick Johnson's Ford Stainer move into calculations. You know, Johnny Bauer's got a terrific track record when you look back over Adelaide. I think he's won the last 4 there.
That's right, yes. It's unfortunate in the 5 litre, if you don't qualify in the front probably 4 cars, you find it very, very hard because the cars are so even. It's just that hard to get past if you're back in the field a bit.
Of course, your record at Adelaide wasn't bad too, so you'd be disappointed not running a 5 litre here.
Oh, yes, for sure, but that wasn't possible, so I'm getting on with what I'm doing.
Good man. Scape now, right in behind Brock. This is the big jewel. Seaton looks a little comfortable where he is. He seems to be able to just take that to a length or two on the fast part of the back part of the circuit here.
And I think Mark Scape will be starting to get a little anxious. As soon as he gets past Peter Brock, the better, because he's probably using up his brakes and tyres, ducking from one side to the other to try and get past Peter. And then it seems like Seaton's getting away. So if he doesn't get past pretty soon, Seaton's looking pretty good right now.
So Peter Brock now puts the hammer down. He pulls out a couple of lengths. Mark Scape just drops back slightly now. That might give him a little bit more time to think and plan the move, because as Jimmy Richards says, he feels Rocky's probably holding him up a little bit. He's driving round and round and round one of the pack leader cars, and that's Romano. He's gone out. The youngster's got out. Another one joined him there in the kitty litter too. Couldn't quite pick it up. Looked like one of the Johnson cars.
I'm not sure it has. I didn't quite see that, but no, it's a shame that Rocky's probably just holding them up a bit, because it could be a good race between Glenn and Mark.
It looks like he did that all by himself, and then someone else followed him. So, maybe the brakes and the tyres are now starting to make things a little more difficult for the guys out there.
Well, Romano goes in. He wouldn't be too happy about that. The Jones team have had a little bit of trouble setting these cars up and getting them sorted out. A monster job to run 2 cars. You know all about that.
Oh, it certainly is. I think really Fred and Mark are finding now that 1 car is relatively easy compared to 2. So, I think that it'll be a while before they get a 2-car team back again.
Glenn Seaton still out in front from Peter Brock, who runs second here. Of course, this is a non-championship race, but one that you'd really like to win, because the first time the 5 litre cars have been here at Albert Park on the Grand Prix track. A massive crowd in attendance. Beautiful day here in Melbourne. Giant breeze, gentle breeze just blowing across the track. You couldn't get better conditions.
No, you couldn't. This is what the Melbourne Grand Prix were hoping for, and it's happened. And tomorrow's going to be even better, I think.
See the skyline of Melbourne there as the cars come down. Seaton, Brock a little bit closer this time round. Scape just about half a car length back.
Yeah, it seems like Peter Brock's either staying more consistent than the other cars, but certainly Mark seems to be dropping back right now. And the race, I think, could be between the two Bridgestone guys at the front right now.
So Bridgestone seem to be getting the better of the surface here, and as we said, because it's such a new track, it's very green and it's been terrifically hard on rubber. It certainly has. You know, I would say that Mark could be suffering a little bit from tyres at the moment. The gap has opened up so far that that's not a normal gap. It's something is actually wrong with Mark's car for sure. Well, he certainly hasn't had too much luck so far this season, and Seaton, of course, has driven superbly. Went down, lost his major sponsor because of the cigarette company dropping out of motorsport, had to struggle to find some money, and now has done so well. All right, we look at Mark Scaife as he works his way around the circuit here. Stay with us, Australia. Back shortly with the 5-litre racing here at Albert Park. Welcome back. Nice to have your company here at Albert Park, wherever you're watching right around Australia. This is the Ding Dong Street Battle going on at the moment. Johnny Bow attacks Larry Perkins, and that's the position 4 and 5 they're fighting for there. Out front, it's Seaton from Brock and Scaife. They're 1, 2 and 3. The cars you're looking at now, Perkins and Bow. Tony Longhurst, remember, started from the front row of the grid, has dropped well back now. Yes, no, I think, well, maybe it's tyres with Tony, because obviously Mark and Tony are on the same tyres, so maybe they're just suffering a little bit, but this is the battle. John Bow trying to pass Larry Perkins. Johnny Bow, the big punch mark right in the middle of the bonnet there. There it is. You can see it. He's really come into contact with something. I think that was early in the race.
It must have been. And also Craig Lowndes is now catching up those two. And here we see John and Larry get together, I think, and just a little tap in the back maybe. Pretty close racing here. They didn't really touch, but he put plenty of pressure on him. Back line we go. Glenn Seaton, Peter Brock. That's how they are, 1 and 2. Nothing much in it. Seaton really has got the legs on some parts of the circuit. Brock seems to be able to make it up and get right underneath him, but can't go on with it. No, it's unusual that, but you have got it's a Ford versus a Holden. It's not two of the same make, so one is stronger in other places than the other. So it's just it's like the elastic rubber band. Not bad racing though when you can get them that close, and the strengths have got to be worked out by either team. Oh, exactly right. Oh, another one goes round there, and have a look at that. He just went round and round and round and round. Yeah, that's young Steve. Unfortunately, had a bit of contact and had a spin, but that's the way it goes. Well, it's a circuit here that once you start to go, it's very difficult to gather it up. It seems pretty wide, but of course, running around in the car, it narrows very quickly. It sure does. I mean, the track looks wide to the onlookers, but when you're on the track going at the speed they're going, there's only really one line around the track. So, a little bit of disaster for some of the cars running back in the race, but up front it's all pretty smooth running. I think what's interesting right now is everybody going into the race thought there was going to be a lot of passing areas, but when we've watched some of the cars running nose to tail, the guys trying to pass the other one in front is having some difficulty getting by, which I think is a little bit unexpected at this stage. Good shot from inside now, as you see working away there at the wheel. Dickie Johnson, he's well back. He had a moment earlier on the race. There's the top runners, Seaton, Brock, Scaife, still 1, 2 and 3, Perkins, Bow. Now Craig Lowndes has come into calculation, so he's gone past Longhurst now. Brock working as hard as he can. He'd love to win this. Seaton would love to win it. They're both Victorians, and this crowd very, very parochial down here. Yes, I think what you're seeing obviously in this class is that the cars are so close in performance that one car can be a half a car length behind the other one, and it's very, very hard to pass. Because the performance is so much the same, you just can't get an advantage on anyone. You know, all the internationals love the V8, so every time they've run at any of the Australian Grand Prix meetings, they come out to the pit walls, they have a look, they love the sound of the cars, and they like the way they move around. Well, that's true, because, unless you've come from the United States, where obviously V8 racing is very popular, in Europe they don't really have V8 racing. It's more the high-tech 2-litre, or in Germany the 2.5-litre formulas. So this is a little new to the Formula One people. Yeah, they give him a cheer. They like to see AJ in action too. They'd love to see him win one, but it's not going to be today. He's well back in the pack. Here's the two fighting for the lead now. Peter Brock in the familiar 05 car takes on Glenn Seaton in a magnificent paint job. That car looks great, doesn't it? It does look terrific. It really does. It's a lot better than the colour scheme they had last year. But these two cars have actually broken away from the rest of the field, and it's obviously going to be out of one of these two. But who knows for third?
Glenn Seaton really is the quiet achiever, isn't he? I mean, and Mark Scaife comes off and into the litter. And can he get it back? Yes. No, he won't. He's bogged it down there, so it must have been tyre problems. You talked about that, and that looked pretty obviously that was the problem there. Yes,
that's what's happened. Mark's come down into that corner. Very late under brakes, and the back wheels, because they've been suffering from excessive wear and could be blistered, the back tyres have locked up and around she's gone into the sandpit.
So Mark Scaife, he's gone. Now have a look from inside the car. There he goes. You see him work. What do you see when that happens?
I can hear that he'll have the throttle flat on the floor at the moment, trying to dig his way out. But no, she hasn't quite made it.
He was sitting in third place, of course. That happened. He gets out of the way pretty quickly. So now it's Seaton out in front from Brock Scaife. Bow. Well, Scaife is not there now, of course, because we've just seen him go off. So our leaderboard needs to be adjusted slightly. We'll do that. 1 and 2. Brock still keeping the pressure on, but Seaton seems to be able to just play him a little bit like a fish at the moment on a line. He can just see to take it out a little bit, drop it back, conserving the car. 9 laps have gone.
It seems like there's another one off. So I think definitely after the 10 laps, some of those cars are starting to have definite problems with tyres and brakes, and it seems like Peter Brock and Glenn Seaton are definitely the class of the field right now. And Peter seems to be quick around the backside of the track, but where it counts across the start-finish line, it seems like Glenn's able to pull out a little bit.
Yeah, well, once you, of course, get onto this grass, the car actually accelerates into the litter.
It sure does, yes. If you keep your foot on the accelerator, sometimes you can bound out of it, but very, very few times that'll happen.
Does its job, of course, and keeps the cars right off the wall. Bow's fastest lap at the moment is a 2:02.6.
Now, that's really, really quick for like 8 laps into a race. A lot of the cars only qualified at that pace.
Yeah, definitely, and he's up to third place now, so that's a team that's really put their act together since qualifying, because both of them didn't qualify very good, and it bodes well for them tomorrow for the second race.
So Johnny Bow, there's the gap from 1, 2 to 3. He's really on the charge. Fastest lap of the race so far. Worked himself up the third. Had his problems earlier. See the big punch mark in the for the bonnet of the car. Whether he can catch him running out of laps now, but there it is. Fastest lap, Johnny Bow. He always seems to come good around the Australian Grand Prix meeting. Got a dreadful start and got bogged into all of that trouble with Wayne Gardner and spinning cars, but he's back in third, and there we have the leaderboard readout for you. It's Seaton, Brock, Bow. Lowndes now has moved up. Alan Jones has improved his position dramatically, along with Larry Perkins.
Yes, no, John will be quite happy with where he's coming at the moment.
Whoa!
If that's not him.
Dickie Johnson.
That's Dick, but bearing in mind they start the second race, the positions they finish the first. So John will start in third place and have a good crack at the second race.
Brock now keeps the pressure on. Glenn Seaton closes right up behind him. He doesn't seem to have the answer to get round. He's tried a number of different lines.
He certainly has, and here we see
that's from Dick Johnson's car.
Dick Johnson's car, and he just trying to get a run on the car in front of him out of that corner and just doesn't quite make it.
So Dickie Johnson spins out of contention here. Now this is the last lap as Brock comes up beside him. A little touch too. A little bit of barge here, and Brock will lose out of that. He tried to get up on the inside, couldn't go on with it. A little tap, and Seaton just put his foot down.
Now that was a great move by Pete. He had nothing to lose by making that move. He tried real hard to go around the outside, to give him no room on the exit, and Glenn just narrowed it up and made him actually go onto the grass. No, good driving by both guys.
I think Peter just lost enough traction on the grass there, even though he had the right line and he was up alongside it. He just couldn't quite make it stick.
Here we go. Here's the replay now.
Now we see Brock is on the outside of the corner, tries to give Glenn no room, but Glenn's natural line is to sort of cut through the corner. Just managed to touch Brocky, which put 2 wheels in the grass, no traction. Glenn pulls ahead.
Well, it might dispel some of those rumours that going around in 5-litre racing that there's some traction control over there, because certainly Peter needed some there and he didn't have any, so he slipped behind.
So Brocky now works the way around, tries to work out a way around Glenn Seaton. He's running out of corners. Now he comes up again, looking for another lunge.
I think Glenn's in tyre troubles. The car's sliding quite a bit, and Brock's got he's got the speed. It wouldn't surprise me if Brock takes him on one of these last corners.
So Peter Brock now trying desperately to do it.
Well, it's running out of time now, so if he's going to have to make a move, it's going to have to come really fast, and he's going to have to take some risk, because Glenn's definitely not going to make it easy for him.
So Brock now keeps the boot on it. Plenty of grunt in the Holden and the Ford. They'll come down side by side of the hairpin. One of the passing moves, but Seaton hangs on. Doesn't have any problems there. Brock comes up on the inside. Look at him diving all around the back of the car, trying to say, which way can I go? He's got the speed, but he hasn't got the room. Glenn Seaton hangs on now. Look at Johnny Bow. Johnny Bow has just taken advantage of this grab, and he's well back into it too. Seaton now. Brock on the outside. Can't do it. Seaton comes onto the main straight area. Look at Johnny Bow. Throws it around the corner as he tries to come up behind Peter Brock. This is how they're going to finish though. Glenn Seaton, Peter Brock, Johnny Bow, Craig Lowndes, he made up a bunch of room as well.
Now, I think Glenn, towards the end of that lap, was obviously having major tyre trouble, and that allowed everyone to catch up. But no, it's going to be a great race tomorrow. You can count on that. They'll have the choice of, I suppose, another 6 tyres that they've used in practice and take the best ones from this race and the set they didn't use.
Definitely, I think it was just a good race there, particularly at the end, because I think Jim's right. Glenn was definitely fading and everybody was catching up, but Glenn just had enough, and it's the guy who goes underneath the checkered flag first wins, and that was Glenn today.
All right, Johnny Bow, great drive into third place. Craig Lowndes certainly made some distance up. Let's recap the positions for you now. In first place was Glenn Seaton. Look at the crowd go up. Second place, Peter Brock. Third place, Johnny Bow. Great drive. Fourth place is Craig Lowndes. Alan Jones improved to be fifth. And Larry Perkins, he took out into the sixth spot. Well, the fans have loved them. You can see them standing up and they're cheering them. There's Mark Scaife now. He'd be pretty upset he was running in third place. Looked strong early in the race. But as Jimmy Richards said, tyres seemed to be the problem, and he couldn't go on with it. Of course, there's Neil Crompton's car parked there too, so there were quite a few non-finishers in this first race for the V8s here in Melbourne.
No, there certainly was, but I think that the next race tomorrow will be a different story again. The guys have learnt that, what compound they need to run, how hard to use their brakes, and I don't think we'll probably see a repeat of the amount of cars that are in the Sandpit tomorrow.
Plenty of carnage as we see Terry Finnegan's car there with half of the back end hanging off.
Yeah, that must have been one of those last lap desperates that someone was trying to get past him, because normally if you lose a bumper, it's the guy behind who does it. And I think tomorrow should be a good race. I think everyone will definitely learn, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. Craig
Lowndes ended up with the fastest lap of that race. Remember dramatically how he improved his position. 2 minutes and 1 second 59. That's the time there.
That's a fantastic time. That's, well, crikey, that's, not much off what he qualified at. And towards the end of a race, that is a top time. The Bridgestone tyres obviously doing a great job.
All right, so Glenn Seaton now takes the waves of the crowd, the cheer of the crowd. Been fantastic. Peter Brock comes right up beside him. They had the dice. Brocky seemed to have him covered, but Glenn Seaton just had that bit extra that he could hold him out, but it was a great race. Johnny Bow, of course, improved from way back in the field to come into third place, and at one stage Craig Lowndes wasn't anywhere near the top runners, so what a good drive from him to get fastest time and finish fourth.
No, it certainly was. Craig is an outstanding talent, and he's in a great team at the moment. They've got a good car, good tyres, and he's just showing what he can do.
Do you think Craig Lowndes is getting too much publicity? You think they're putting too much pressure on him?
Well, I don't think so. I think Australian racing needs young people to come up and make a name for themselves, and certainly, he's fallen on his feet and is in the right place at the right time, and he's taking control of it and taking advantage of it. So, I think it whips up more enthusiasm with the fans that they've got someone new to cheer on, and I think he's a guy that could go a very long way in this sport.
No, I totally agree. I've seen him at the tracks, in the pit area, and he's got his own, you could say, clan of fans coming along, and it is really good. He is a brilliant young driver, and, HRT are giving him every opportunity to win races, which is terrific.
No doubt about that, and many people agree with both of you and think he could probably go away. Well, Barry Sheen, little Baz, is down trackside. I believe he's talking with Glenn Seaton.
Not quite yet. We're just waiting for Glenn to get his earplugs out and get out of the car, and he's looking a bit hot and flustered. Glenn, whoa, what a race. Wide car, eh?
Oh, I had to at the end because I was getting a bit slippery in the back, and said that to cover my spots.
Well, you covered them pretty well. I wonder what Brocky will say after.
Oh, well, that's motor racing, isn't it? You've got to get around them.
Good. You've got to give Ford some credit, haven't you?
Absolutely. Ford credit have been fantastic in Bridgestone Tyre Centres, and it's great to have them support to get me back here this year. So thank you to Ford and Ford Credit and Bridgestone Tyre Centres, Mobile, and also Ingersoll Rand.
So you're going to last well tomorrow with the tyres?
Yeah, no problem. We've got another set for tomorrow. It's a shorter race, so I don't think we'll have a problem tomorrow.
Looked all right today. Thanks a lot, Glenn.
Thanks, Barry.
You could call him Cool Hand Luke, couldn't you? I mean, Glenn Seaton, nice and relaxed. He's come out of it. Now, Charles Stewart, of course, is down there with the man, Peter Brock. Charles? Obviously having a few problems down in that part of the circuit, hearing from Brocky, but he looked pretty happy. Okay, so there we have it. Terrific event there. Seaton did a terrific job to win again, first time out here, and he'll be wrapped in that being a Victorian. We'll take a break. Of course, the V8s come back tomorrow. The 2 litres are yet to come. There's a stack of racing to happen here at Albert Park. Stay with us.